arrived in just now. Let's take a one moment of breeze. You can sit comfortably in your seat or just how you sit. Let's have one moment of silence. And imagine that you are in a pranayama session. Let's quietly inhale and exhale. And the kids who are coming, find your seats somewhere. If you don't find the seats, maybe you would like to sit next to on the floor or even here on the edge of the stage or on the floor in front or on the sides. And thank you. Another inhale deeply into your stomach and feel your spine, and gently exhale. So we are going to have this morning two authors sharing with us about Indian history, Tamil history through very interesting approaches. So our first speaker is Devika Cariappa, and she is an archaeologist turned author who makes archaeology accessible for you children. And her first book, India Through Archaeology, won the Sahitya Academy Awards for youth literature, children's literature, and then her later books have earned major national awards, including the Neve Author Awards. So when she is not writing, she will be enjoying calligraphy. You know what is calligraphy? The art of writing letters and exploring ancient sites, visiting Bangalore's indie bookstores. She is known for her clear, engaging storytelling for young readers. Her work sparks curiosity about India's past in every child she meets. Now she's here meeting all of you with her PowerPoint and with her very precious book. To you. Would you please present to the children your book?
Yes, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. My name is Devika Cariappa, as you said, and I'm really happy to be here in the sea of very bright young faces. I used to be, many years ago, an archaeologist. When I gave that up, I decided to start writing books for young people, such as yourself, on Indian history and archaeology. This is one of my latest books. It's called A Children's History of India in 100 Objects, in which I've chosen 100 objects. Don't ask me how I did that, it took a really long time. And each one of them tells a story of our own history. Now, what I want to do today is, I don't want to read from this book, I just want to talk to you all. So, and you're most welcome to stop me at any time if you want to add something to what I'm saying, or you want to question anything, or you haven't understood anything. I hope it's okay if I do it in English. Everybody's good? Yeah? So, first I want to ask you all, and I want the truth, how many of you like history? I know Pradeep does, because he writes about only 2.5 hands. What? You like, thank goodness the teachers like history. Okay, hands down. I want somebody to tell me why they don't like history. You tell me, you like history? You like it? Okay, somebody who doesn't like it. Girls, someone who doesn't like, just stand up and say why you don't like history.
Not interested.
Not interested because
We don't want us to know the past.
you don't want to know the past. Very interesting point. Anybody else? Anyone think there are too many dates, too many kings and queens to mug up? Yes, you think it's really boring? Yeah? Yeah, you think the same? Too much to mug up, right? Yeah? Yeah. So, what I kind of understand what you're saying, but I also want to tell you that history is one of the most interesting subjects you will ever study if you really start involving yourself in it. And what do I mean by that? Why are we all here? Why are you wearing the clothes that you're wearing? For instance, why are you wearing a shirt and a pant? Any reason? School uniform is a shirt and a pant because, go back in time a little bit, Westernization, because we were ruled by the British for 200. Why am I speaking to you in English? Why did I write my book in English? Because the British ruled us and we learned our education almost entirely in English. Luckily now we learn many other languages. But you see, every one of you now, every single one of you sitting in this room is a walking, talking, historical being. So unless you understand that, unless you understand yourself, then how will you go forward? One of my favorite authors said, if you don't know where you've come from, then you don't know where you are. And if you don't know where you are, you don't know where you're going. So it's better to understand what's going on. Say you want to understand now what's going on in Israel and Palestine. You've all heard about what's going on there. How will you understand today's problems if you don't know the history of Palestine and Israel? You need to know a little bit about history. Hopefully, without studying too much or without having to mug up too much. So when you read your history books and you're thinking, do I really have to learn this? Do you sometimes wonder, how did this person know all this? Is he or she just making it all up? Anybody suspect that? Like, if it happened so far in the past, how did we know this? What sort of things do historians use to tell us about the past?
How accurate is history?
How accurate is history? And how do we know it's accurate? What do they use? They use something called sources, right? Manuscripts, inscriptions, anything else? All around you? Monuments, books, diaries, artifacts, really important. Let's just do a little bit of a exercise. I'm not very good at technology, so I hope I don't get it wrong. No, it's good. Because then I'll talk and I'll go back. Thanks. You all know this, they use something called primary and secondary sources. Are you familiar with this? Just very roughly, primary sources were created at the same time as the event, whether they were inscriptions or books or manuscripts. And secondary sources were made after the event by people who were not alive when the event took place. Okay, what work of beautiful cities. They were cities, not villages. They were very well planned, they had big broad streets. The people who lived there each had a house with a courtyard. The house had an attached bathroom. I'm talking about 4,000 years ago. And the bathroom water drained into a central drain and all the dirty water was taken out of the city. They loved to dress up. They had beautiful clothes and jewelry and they traded with the Persian Gulf with beads and oils and grains and things like that, and they brought back things from the Persian Gulf as well. Now, what is the question you should be asking me? Questions? What was the thing I told you earlier? Whenever somebody says something about history, what is the question you should ask them? How do you know this? Because when an archaeologist excavates, this is all they see. Do you see those people I was talking about? Those houses, those bathrooms, those drains? I said they dressed up really well and loved to wear jewelry. Where are they?
They They were dead.
They're dead, but do you see any evidence of what I've talked about?
The houses.
There are remains of houses, but from that, can you tell that they traded with the Persian Gulf? You can't, right? It's only when you start discovering artifacts as an archaeologist that you can start putting together a picture of the people. For instance, there's a brick up there, which was one of the first objects they discovered in the Harappan civilization. That's how they discovered that Harappa existed. Some railway engineers were building a railway line and they started finding these beautiful bricks. They were all in a beautiful proportion of 4:2:1. And they started using them for the railway line. Until an archaeologist came and said, wait a minute, this was in the mid-19th century. Stop using these, this looks like something very old and important. And sure enough, when they dug, they found the ancient city of Harappa. But it was only when they started finding these objects, I'm sure you're familiar with some of these, that they started putting together a picture of the people who lived there. Does anybody know what any of these objects are? Even one? The necklace? Yes, there's a necklace there. Okay, let's just quickly read some objects. Okay, the way we read the stones, very quickly. Those little things on top are little seals. Okay, they have what on them? Something written. So that means what? If something is written on a seal, what does it mean? That they have language, they are literate people, that they can read and write. Because if they're writing something, someone should read it. Right? But unfortunately, this is not deciphered. I hope one of you can do it one day. But we know that they were literate. The pot over there, anybody who's been to a pottery class will know how difficult it is to make a thin pot so beautifully with the decorations. These toys. What does a toy cart tell you? They carried pots and also they used cars. You know, when you were younger and you played with toy cars, there were models of cars that were actually on the street. So this is like a model of something that was actually on the street. So the potter, as you said, was going to market loaded like this. And then they had the most amazing collection of toys in the Harappan cities. A lot of it is available in the National Museum in Delhi. They had little nodding toys. They had a boy throwing something that looked like the first frisbee in the world. They had board games. They had little complete kitchen sets, marbles. They even had a terracotta dice, 4,000-year-old dice, which looks exactly like the dice you're still using today. Now, what does toys tell you about a people? You remember that, you know, these are all they're all limited edition. You can't just walk into Hamleys and buy these toys. You want them, somebody has to make them, maybe your parents made them. Or maybe they asked the craftsman to make it. What does it tell you? What do toys tell you about someone?
That they are used at that time itself.
And how did you feel when you were younger and you played with toys? What did you feel? Entertained and happy, exactly. These were happy, they were joyful people. You know, whenever we think of the past, we think of our ancestors as these, oh, they were so serious and all they did was fight battles and just sign treaties and stuff like that. And generally just sort of loot each other's treasuries. But they were happy people because they loved their children and they made these beautiful toys for them. The jewelry, we're coming to the jewelry. This collection of jewelry, gold and silver, was not available anywhere where the Harappans lived. What does that mean? They traded, yeah. They went trading. There's a little blue stone down there, dark blue stone. Does anybody know what it is? Dark. It's not transparent. Dark. It's, you know it. Lapis lazuli, which is available only in the northernmost mountains of Afghanistan. You know how far away that is. Again, what does it mean?
Heard of these stones.
You've heard of it, and they traded. Yeah. So they traded with these people. That red bead is called carnelian. It's one of the most difficult beads to drill. You can't drill a hole through it. It's so hard, it breaks. Each one of these beads are supposed to have taken 8 days to make. And it was as precious as diamonds are today. How do we know this? because there was a king in Mesopotamia, which is present-day Iraq, who was organizing this huge party for himself, like a coronation or something. And he had asked for a